To order. Will you please rise and join me in the pledge to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let the record show that all board members are present and accounted for. No action was taken in closed session, and I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. On to communications. We're going to go ahead and start with public comment. Members of the public may address the Board of Trustees regarding any agenda item during board consideration of that item. Please note that if you wish to address the Board of Trustees on an agenda item, you should do so when the specific item is called by the board president. In order to submit a comment, if you are submitting a comment in person, please make sure to complete a public comment card and give it to the board assistant. You can also provide your feedback. If you're watching online, you can also provide your feedback via Assembly Gamut and live comments chat feature on YouTube. Comments submitted online will be read by the board assistant. All remarks are limited to a duration of 2 minutes. Now, this is an opportunity for individuals to address the board on items that are not on the agenda. Please note that because it's not an agendized item, we cannot take action on it. But please know that we are listening and we'll do what we can to try and address your item when the time is appropriate. Is there anyone who would like to address the board on an item that is not on the agenda? Do we have any comments online? No comments online, so we'll go ahead and move forward. Let's see, we'll now move on to reports, and we will start with the Robla Education Foundation.
Yeah. Good evening. I suppose you did this. Okay. Some good news, I think, to report tonight. With the exception of the third and the fourth, staffing looks good. And there's a couple of people I haven't put on the actual schedule that you see online, but I do have an excellent packing up crew each night. Thanks to Mr. DeLuz and a couple, 3 others that I do have on the list, and all his family members that he manages to convince that, you know, this is a worthy cause and hey, money for your classroom. Mm-hmm. So thank you for that. The only days that are in question, the third and the fourth, and especially the fourth, and I have to, unfortunately, this year, I have to stay open until 7 o'clock on the fourth because of somebody down, one of the high-ups down in Southern California got upset last year when he saw somebody close down at 3, and he put his company money ahead of personal well-being stuff. Mm-hmm. So, other than that, enjoy your summer after the 4th, and hopefully I'll have a real good report when we come back in session in August.
Yes, sir.
Questions?
No question. Thank you so much. And now we have Robla Teachers Association, CSEA, Superintendent's Report.
Good evening. Just a quick report. We have our summer programs in sessions. Excited to have a little over 240 students at Glenwood. That's part of our academic program. And then afterwards, they will either participate in the START program or at Freedom School. Freedom School has about 60 students enrolled. So parents, if you're interested and you hear me and you're online, they do have space. And they're still accepting enrollment. So we're excited about that. And we have ESY at Robla Elementary as well.
Mm-hmm. If parents want to sign their kids up, how do they do so? Just show up?
Yes, we will help enroll them on our 6 Crickets platform if they just show up.
There you
Yes.
go.
Thank you.
All right, move on to board member reports. Trustee Devine?
Nothing at this time.
Mm-hmm. Trustee Cardona?
To report.
Trustee Hamilton Starks?
Nothing at this time.
Trustee Barnes?
Nothing to report.
And I have nothing to report. Moving right along, we'll now move on to presentations and information, and we'll do item 5A, a district facilities update.
This is new, so it's on, yeah. The last, good evening, President DeLuz, board members, Superintendent Chen. The last time we did a facilities report, actually over 6 months ago, it was January 23, so it has been a while. So we will present an update of what we accomplished for this school during the year and where we are working on it. So, it. Full video. So,
He has a video we want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Can I share video? So, this is only 50 seconds. This is pretty cool.
Dave, it's really nice.
It's, you know, professionally done by Robla preschool staff. I'll write. I'm going to share, but what I think is we're very proud of that. I will call it a best outside classroom. You know, just our kids will be able to ride their tricycles in this area. That's our preschool area. So it's four new classrooms at a new administration building plus the playgrounds. We still have
Mr.
to.
Castillo, can I make a comment? Can you go back to the last?
Yeah, of course.
Sorry. I just want to acknowledge that you see those two play structures, the one on the right? We purposely built that to provide a play structure for our Play Pals group. Normally, play structures like the one on the left are for ages 2 and above, and we have some Play Pals students that are under 2, and the structure that they had before was not exciting. So we are excited that we have one that is age appropriate and very, very welcoming for them. Thank you.
We still have work to do. There's one playground in the preschool that we want to change it from what I call a bar to soft. I call it soft fun. And we also had to create some, because in this area we will have PK and preschool, we have to create some nice fences around to separate our students. Now it's Bell Elementary School. We also have a new playground. You know, it's the soft landing for school. They have been already inspected and ready to be open, so they're ready to go. These pictures are from last Friday. You go around this today, they actually look different already. We're working on something that the board support and approve is the new turf fields, and this is Abel Avenue. And Abel Avenue, when the modernization happened, the basketball courts, they were never updated, and we're working on that as well. So they will have a new basketball court in fields. The chase structure has been approved. This is the area where it will be. Unfortunately, I don't have a day that I could give you when this will be accomplished. As yesterday, the most I hear is that is being approved by DSA, but we are waiting from some of the manufacturing regarding where we are with those metal chase structure. But it's going to be in each of the schools is 47 times 36 chase structure. And it's outside right by the multipurpose room, and Glenwood. During the year, the playground broke, and they have a new playground. Glenwood also, we are we are updating the field to turf field. We will also have metal roofs. That's why they had a picture there. Has been over 25 years, and it needs to be replaced in certain areas of the campus. We also, I don't have a picture, but you go right when Glenwood, there's a playground for indoors in PK. We're adding shade to that too. I don't have a picture of that. It's a nice playground, but we will add shade for that. We are moving this is a picture of the library from Main Avenue to Glenwood to help us accommodate. We will not have students in this area, but this is to help us accommodate for the new requirements of the class size for PK or 20 to 1. We will have to do some movement here. Also, the shade structure will be on this location. Main Avenue, we did not did a lot of modernization during the year because, but we're working on the approval of 6 new classrooms. So this library was the one who's going to move to Glenwood. All of these portables will be removed and replaced with new ones. Something that now at Robla, what we accomplished, something that we are not proud the way that it looks right now is our field at Robla Elementary School. We are working with installers and our staff to turn it around during the summer. For some reason, when we installed the new, they have a lot of weeds, so we had to kill the weeds, and so this is where it is right now, the field. But we are, I was promised that we will turn it around, so we want to be proud of the Robla field. So it's leveling, but the grass does not look good right now. We have to work, and we also adding a new a soft playground at the Robla. There used to be bark. And why this is important, because even though they were ADA compliance, a lot of special ed kids could not really play on this because it's bark. So now people with wheelchair or anything, they could go into this area and this soft landing.
Can I just confirm the soft out is like that court, right? Foam?
It's fun, but it's underneath, there's a lot of things to support it, like you walk, it feels very, yeah, it's a cushion, yeah.
There's like the one piece, okay,
Yes.
I just wanted to confirm, like, it was what I was thinking.
Yes. So we also we're gonna add a shade structure at Robla Elementary School. And this is Taylor Street. This is what we accomplished. We are doing a lot of work at Taylor Street, especially during the summer, but this is a new playground. I know the kids start to this playground and they were very, very, very happy. So we are working on the new turf field. We are adding replacing 2 roofs. We are working on replacing, this is what they call it, the kinder playground, also changing it to soft ground. And this is our kitchen, our Taylor. So we are replacing this with metal counters. This is how it is right now. So that's what we are working on. There's not a lot of work, but we're gonna at least make it where our staff will be more safe and cleaner than the current environment of Taylor kitchen. We are also remodeling. I showed you the picture before of the roofs, and it's also the classrooms 11 and 12. These are the 2 classrooms. We did some testing, and these classrooms could be remodeled. We are replacing, do a lot of work around the walls and replacing the carpet. This will be done during the summer. Taylor Street, again, we will have the shade structure. And we're also we're also adding a new fabric at the playground at Taylor Street. So that's out of day about our facilities. I will show you with pictures where we are right now.
Thank you. Yeah, question.
Yeah.
I'm looking directly at the pictures. How come some of the playgrounds are sunken into the ground and others have the barriers?
Which one is that?
Well, just, you can see some that have the raised border around it and others, they're level. And
So
sunken in.
all
I'm just curious
the
about that.
only one, the one at Robla, because he was already have bark on it, so that was kind of a little bit more difficult. All the other ones, they are level, they could have access from any, like for example, Glenwood, Taylor, they could access from any area where Robla is a little fall, and we are working, that's actually a proposal later in the board to raise it up a little higher to make it even around the boarding.
And just for clarity, the new play structures, those are the ones that are level. What we did at Robla, that was already an existing play structure that had bark, that we changed it to foam. So with the bark, they already had that borders, but the new play structure at Bell, Taylor, and Glenwood would be flat, because those are, we replaced there.
Versus remodeled, they already have a hole, they already have the border around here at Robla, so, and the ones that we're fixing, they already have that, so we're trying to make it, we're working on it.
Will they flood?
They will not, no, we asked the question, so they will not flood. Underneath is, what, I forgot technical terminology, but it's like gravel where the water will go through that, so they will not flood. They have rain range. I was told they will not, there is a drainage system goes through that.
If you can see, you say the structures, the middle structures that we're waiting, they're not ready. They're going to look like the Robla? No.
No, they are metal. They will look similar to if you go on Main Avenue,
Okay.
the ones when we had outside events, because Main Avenue is the only school who has a shade outside, so they will be similar to that. I'm not sure like the hard metal, but that's they will look like that. It's metal. We were told like if you want fabric a while back, we would have accomplished this like 6 months ago, but we want metal because we want it to be more durable and last and better, not just for shade, but also for rain.
And just to clarify, we're adding fabric shade structure to like the kinder play structure at Taylor,
There will be
is it Glenwood?
Taylor and Glenwood.
Right, but the metal shade structure is in addition, yes.
I just want to make comments that I really appreciate the presentation because it gives us a better view and people can we see and walk like see and we really see. And it was sometimes hard to go to all the sites. That one kind of helped us a lot.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, and we could share our preschool video. That's I think it's a lot. Thank you.
Where, I don't know if it's necessarily part of this, but where are we in terms of the development of the facilities master plan? Because I know that we still have a lot of things that we're looking to do, and if we're going to look at, if we're going to look at Prop 2, we're going to look at doing a bond for the next election cycle. We kind of need to have a plan together. Where are we at on that?
So we have reached to a couple companies. So we were working the proposition in the facility master plan, and then proposition 2 passed, and the facilities master plan, the new, it has to contain many of the requirements that it's like 40 items.
Right.
Position 2. So right now we're looking. We haven't have a contractor yet, but we need some help somebody to help us. We watch a couple videos through small school districts. We want something that is not too expensive, but it means all the requirements. So we don't have a. You want something else to present?
I will say there will be a contract in the future, right, for us to work with the company to develop this plan because of the 40 items. One of the things is like the deferred maintenance plan. So it's a little bit more extensive than a facilities master plan that you've had before. So anticipate a contract. in
August, September, August?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I hope August.
That's what I was hoping to hear.
No, explica la cuestión.
Okay. Any additional questions, comments? Thank you so much.
Explica el micrófono. Thank you.
All right, now we're going to move on to item B, the 2024-25 California Dashboard Local Measures Update.
Good evening, everyone. So tonight I'm going to present you our local control funding formula local indicators, and this is part of the process of the local control accountability plan. So as we know, the local control funding formula is based on 10 priority areas, 8 for school districts. The last 2 are for county offices of education only. And some of these priority areas are found on the dashboard, but some of them are not. So some of them we have to rate ourselves locally, as well as some other information that's like in addition to the dashboard. So there are some rubrics that we go through, and then we also look at the additional data that comes through what's called Data Quest. So the very first priority would be priority number 1, and that's essentially our Williams review. So it consists of both the facility inspection tool, the teacher misassignment, which is a Data Quest indicator now, and our classroom materials, which is the walkthroughs that happen in the fall each year at our Williams sites. So in this area, we've met everything. One thing to note is that, so our facilities, all our facilities are in good standing. One thing to note is that the teacher misassignment portion, you'll notice it says 22-23. So though this is a new component with the local control accountability plan, the collecting and the presenting and the follow-up of the data is lagging. So they were hoping to have 23-24 available for us, which would still put us behind in the years in terms of what our assignments are, currently. But so this is why it says 22-23, because this is what is currently available through the Data Quest system, which is what we have to use now.
When you say misassignment, you're saying basically, what does that mean?
I'm going to show you next.
Oh, well, there you go. Makes it easy.
Okay, so what am I talking about misassignment? So I might ask Ms. Sullivan to help me out in this explanation, but essentially there's federal accountability for how teachers are assigned to a position, and then there's also state accountability to how teachers are assigned to a position. So this here talks about, for example, are you fully qualified, meaning do you have a certificate, for example, of a multiple subject credential to be in a multiple subject classroom? Or in our case, we also have art as a single subject, physical education as a single subject, and computer education at that time as a single subject, which, though the teachers that are in those assignments are California credentialed to be in a multiple subject setting, an elementary school, they don't hold single subject credentials. So, which is okay in California, but when you look at the way they're looking at it, they're saying they should have a single subject credential, which we are working on, that we have those teachers that are assigned in those positions to have those credentials. So when you look, for example, under art, it says, 60% is clear. We had 5 art teachers. So in 22-23, 3 of those 5 were clear, meaning they had a single subject credential. The ineffective category, Ms. Sullivan, can you help me explain the ineffective category? This is data that she puts into the system and is collected.
So ineffective is looked at in 2 ways. It's looked at on the federal level and the state level. And when you end up with a percentage score in the ineffective category, it has to do with interns aren't necessarily reflected or accepted on a federal level, but they are on the state level. So they are credentialed in terms of all of the CDE and CTC requirements. And so you end up with an ineffective category because of the federal requirements.
I can't make it easy. Any other questions in regards to what this data looks like? And again, this is some outdated data. currently, our numbers are looking better. Of course, we also don't have the computer education teachers as a separate component at this point in time. And I think at this point, all of our physical education teachers are fully
Quick
credentialed.
question.
Mhm.
So, I'm sorry, I'm not fully understanding the self-contained class.
Self-contained classroom is a regular classroom.
No, I mean the numbers.
Oh, okay.
It was 80, 10, and 12.
That's because they're rounding the numbers. They're rounding the numbers up, and so it just ends up. I pull this from DataQuest, and that's when I kind of looked at that too. And from what I can tell, it has to do with something on how they're rounding the numbers. How we end up with 102. That's a good question.
Okay.
Does this create common with elementary and district? Because most elementary schools don't have teachers focusing on a subject. So,
Yeah, I kind of say whether it's common or not, and I would say that we are unique and that we have these special positions that where we have an art teacher and we have a computer science teacher, where a lot of districts don't, which is one of the reasons why Prop 28 came around, because they're trying to get more into the elementary schools. So it is indicative that we've got these specialized programs, and so we kind of have this component, especially as this new requirement came up. Because as we added those positions, this was not a piece of the local control funding formula. So the local control funding formula and the data that they're collecting is constantly changing. And,
I don't think that's exactly right.
oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So, let's say, is it common for elementary schools not to have teachers who are specialized in one particular or in like art or computer education or these other subjects on the elementary school level? Or is it just like schools who have a general education so they can teach all these classes? Is that what's like putting it ineffective?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because to have a multiple subject credential, means you can teach multiple subjects. For example, our multiple subject credential teachers are required to teach physical education. We have the additional supplemental physical education.
Okay, and that's where they're not hitting for the effective part because of that, not because of them lacking in credentials or education.
No. So as Ms. Sullivan was saying is, they may not, they're saying they're ineffective on the federal level because the federal says you should hold a single subject credential, but on the California level, they're not considered ineffective because they have to have at least been an intern program and taken the CBES. There's other requirements that California says, okay, you're credentialed even though you're not fully credentialed, you have all met the requirements for the state level.
Perfect. Thank you for explaining that.
Absolutely. It took me a while.
If I was
to,
confused, I'm sure parents would
Oh,
explain.
yes.
What's the difference between ineffective and out of field?
So out of field would be, for example, if you had a physical education teacher teaching art, they would be out of field. This is more for when you at the high school level, you're going to see more of that kind of component. Okay, priority 2. In priority 2, this is where we look at how our progress in providing professional learning for teachers in regards to adopted academic standards. And here we're using a rubric that is provided by the state, and we rate ourselves on the rubric, 5 being the high end, 1 being the low end. And I would say ELD, we have a rating of 4 here because we have a lot of new teachers that I've learned through the training that don't have a full capacity, full understanding of the requirements for English language development. For example, the fact that you have to have both designated and integrated in your school day every day, and that how they really understand what that means. So I think we still have a little bit of work to do, but we're fully implemented and we have that in our program. We just have some teachers that need more professional learning on what that looks like. Also part of priority 2 is rate your progress in making instructional materials that are aligned to our adopted curriculum. Here you can see we're all 5. We haven't had any problem with our Williams review. We always have materials that are state adopted or part of aligned with the curriculum and the standards. Again, area 2 still. This is the implementation and policies and programs that support the staff. Recently adopted curriculum and the frameworks. Here we do a lot of work. We have our PLSTs. We have a institute at the end of the year where teachers get together and they go through what we're doing and how we're meeting these standards, looking at our assessments, where are students having trouble. So we do a pretty robust job in this area as well. This area is also regarding the academic standards and the implementation of the following areas. So this is some of those new areas that I say are on the dashboard and that they're trying to implement, beyond our reading, writing, arithmetic. So the career technical for us as an elementary district is difficult for us to do. We do have some things in place. For example, we have our 6th graders do the culinary work, those field trips. We have a few things in place, but we probably could build that up a little bit more. Health education is part of our physical education program. Again, there we've made some changes that we feel like we need to move back. And this is a self-rating rubric. So this is looking at, well, what do I see that we have and we don't have? Or health education. We're doing okay, but we could do a little bit better. And then world language, the fact that we have a dual immersion program is great. That helps us with our world language. In my eyes, I'd like to see more supporting other languages so kids don't have to be in the dual immersion program, but we have more support for world languages at all 5 of our sites.
Real quick, the difference between health education and physical education?
Health education is, for example, like when you get into 6th grade, they do how the body works.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the question I had was in particular on the PE. Does, as a part of this understanding, like, I know that most districts, and so far as I know, we're not meeting the minimum standard when it comes to the amount of time of PE that students are supposed to have. Is that part of this consideration as we measure ourselves?
It is part of this consideration, and that's one of the things with our PE teachers. So the amount of time at elementary is 200 minutes every 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
And our PE teachers are helping to support that, so they're helping us get to that point where most of our sites were there, because they also implement things like running club in the morning. They've got the after-school programs, or the lunchtime programs where they all do activities. But teachers also take kids out. So the fact that we have those PE teachers has made it much better, and we're doing a pretty good job at meeting our 200 minutes.
Okay. Well, that was the thing. I didn't know that we were at a point where we were meeting it. I'm quite glad to hear that. I know it was hard to get there.
And it's hard to maintain it. But with the help of having those physical education teachers, they're really helping the teachers to be able to get out there and do activities, and they're giving them skills, things that they can do with their classes.
My understanding is that is a rarity.
Mm-hmm.
If I can just add that for the teachers, for the principals, when they build their master schedule, right, they have to show me where the minutes are being made, because it is correct. They do not get all their PE minutes with the PE teacher, but when they implement the morning mile or their lunch club, that counts for it as long as it's in the master schedule.
There you go.
Yep. Yeah. This is a hard one all over the state, and they only have, I think, 2 people in the entire state monitoring this. So, yeah. Unfortunately. Still in priority 2, rate our success in engaging in the following activities with teachers and school administrators. Here again, I feel like we've done a really good job. We really work hard for our professional learning and have a robust schedule in terms of having 3 days designated, or actually 4 days designated for professional learning, and the PLSTs that work with the teachers, the mentor teachers that work with the teachers all year long. So we did pretty well here. Priority 3 is the next priority that we do our own self-reflection on. And I'm not going to take the time to read the whole slide here, but this is, just looking at our parent engagement. And I think with our district activities that we do, we meet our requirements and beyond when it comes to our parent committees, as well as each school site has a number of other evening activities that they do to bring their families into the school campuses. And there's some examples of that right there. Along with that Warm Line, I don't know if you're familiar with Warm Line, but Warm Line is actually a online opportunity for parents to get education in parenting skills and working with their children, so in raising their children. Priority 6 is our school climate. Some of this is on the dashboard. Some of it is, it's still, though, a self-reflection tool, even though some of it's on the dashboard. And I believe that's because they want us to look a little more closely at the data. We did really well this year in this area. We went up. We increased in our responses from our students. We give our survey to 3 through 6th grade. We're only required to give it to 1 grade, but we do it through 3 through 6. And as you can see, we've moved up in our numbers in terms of how students are looking at our schools and the climate of their schools.
No, but before you go on,
Let me go back.
yeah, I'm definitely glad for the increases, and we're definitely moving in the right direction. But I'm also concerned that 34% of our students feel that their school does not have an anti-bullying climate. Can you comment on that?
Well, I'm not at the school level, so it's hard for me to comment on that. This is one of the pieces that are in the SIPSAs. So principals should have addressed this, and I think you'll see that they did address this in their SIPSAs. So what does that look like at their school site? I know, for example, I've worked with some of the principals in terms of kind of honing down at what grade levels. The one thing we did notice too, though, is that the way that the system works, because we do an online survey, and what we found is that, for example, some of the special education classes were in there to do the survey, but for example, that like the 2-3, is it a 2-3-4 or 2-3 class? There was one class I know that they were saying, like, well, we didn't give the survey because we didn't feel it was appropriate that the students could actually answer the questions, because the students answer, the teacher can read the question to them, and the students can answer, but we didn't have all the kids take the survey, meaning some of them did not do that. In some of the classrooms, we had a number of students that were absent. So when it says 66%, it's saying 60% of 100% took the survey, and we don't have 100% that took the survey at any single of those grade levels.
Do we know how many kids on each side took it? So we can
Yes.
actually see what the percentage is?
You should be able to see that in this SIPSAs. So each principal looked at their data to see where they were compared to the other schools in the district, as well as to the district overall. And then they looked at which grade level scored higher or lower, because they can look at the data by grade level. They can look at the data by ethnicity. Again, we moved to Kelvin this time for this survey. We moved away from Panorama. I think it's a much better survey. For example, it truly addresses anti-bullying as questions in that survey, where the prior one that we were using, Panorama, didn't use it for students. It talked to us parents how they felt about bullying, but it didn't have a very specific question on anti-bullying for the students. So it had like 3 or 4, where in Panorama it had like 1 question. So our numbers are up because we tried to look at apples to apples, pulled the same questions across from what was in Panorama, because a lot of these are standardized questions. Each company isn't necessarily making up their own questions. There's a whole series of standardized questions for these surveys. So we pulled those questions across to the Kelvin. So we are looking at apples to apples, but we are knowing also that when we look at 66%, we're not looking at 66% of 100% participation.
Can you email me or email us what it is like, actually the percentage of the respondents? So like,
Yeah.
say, like 50 kids felt it was safe, but only 40 kids or 40.
We took the survey.
Right. Do the math that way.
Right.
Sorry, I couldn't process in my head.
Yes, I can. And I can give you all, I can also give you access to that dashboard so you can fiddle around in case I don't send you something.
Okay.
I can give you access to that dashboard to look at the data as well.
Yeah.
Because I feel like these just aren't really accurate if all the kids didn't take it or if it's based off of all.
So it's hard to know. It's hard to know too, because who was a third grader last year is a different student, is now a fourth grader this year. So in the analytics, you almost have to say, did that third grader in 23, 24, now as a fourth grader in 24, 25, answer differently? Right? Because you want to know are
The same kids.
the same kids answering right, but it's a what's the word I'm looking for? Private survey. What's the word I'm looking for? Anonymous. Thank you. Anonymous survey. So I can look student by student, but nobody else has access at this point to look student by student.
Can you make questions as well to add for next time?
You can, yes, we could make questions to add.
Can you make one for next year saying, do you feel safer this year than you have before?
I can look at that. I can look at
just
that.
add like a qualifier or something like, is this year better in terms
Yeah,
of
did last year?
because
Yeah.
that would show us how many kids are improving or feel.
Right. If they feel the climate has improved, has
Yeah.
changed, right.
Well, that, okay.
I was gonna say for me, I think data is always one of those really complex things. Like you can chop it and dice it however you want, speak to whatever you want. But the thing that really like stands out to me is that we're making progress. We're moving in the right direction. And so I want to applaud the campuses that are really working to address anti-bullying, to make sure that schools are safe and to make sure that they feel like they're part of the community. Maybe they haven't gotten it completely right, but it sounds like they're moving in the right direction to improve that. So thank you to all the principals and all the teachers out there that are working to keep these numbers moving in the right direction.
Thank you.
And I do applaud definitely that we're moving in that direction. I guess basically what I want to know is, or have a discussion on is, do people feel like we have a good anti-bullying climate? And that's the discussion that I'm talking about, not the number of people who are taking the survey. So that's kind of, and that's the same for all three of these. I just want to make sure that that's what we're doing and that we're moving in that right direction.
I think this survey data needs to also be looked side by side with the suspension data and the Swiss data that talks about referrals to the office and students, because also too, when you take a survey like this, you take it in one point in time. It could be a day that you had a bad experience at recess and the rest of the year was great, but on this day I'm going to say no. This isn't an anti-bullying climate because of that one moment in time. So, looking at multiple sources, I think, is important. And as Trustee Hamilton Stark said, we're moving the needle in the right direction.
And I also look at this as like, sometimes these companies who put together these surveys, maybe they don't speak the same language as we're speaking. So our students aren't, like if you ask them about anti-bullying and you use the term anti-bullying, a lot of them might not know exactly what that means. And so how do you interpret that? They might say like, anti-bullying or whatever the case is because they don't quite understand what it means. So I know that if we look at this and probably compare it to like our CAP scores and things like that, we might see like some correlation there with the language just being something that they might not be as familiar with too.
And one of the reasons why we don't go below third grade too is because of the terminology and the understanding of what the questions are.
Well, that, and Trustee Hamilton Stark brings up a good point. I mean,
And we don't generally try to write our own because we try to use questions that have been standardized, have been researched. That's why when you go from one company to another, a lot of those questions are written exactly the same way because they have been vetted, I guess you'd say, through companies, through studies that they're good questions that are getting at the right kind of information that you're trying to gather.
I also think the consistency of the question year over year matters, because if you change how you ask the question, that could change the data, or in fact corrupt the data.
Right.
So you don't know if you've had growth or if you've fallen behind because different question, different interpretation.
Right, which was one of the challenges of moving from Panorama to Kelvin. It was like we can't compare last year to this year if we can't keep the same questions. So even in some of the data analysis, if there was a different question, we kept it out. Okay, priority 7, almost there. Priority 7 is access to a broad course of study. Again, because I think we have some, additional programs in our district, we do meet this requirement quite well. We offer some things after school as well. For example, like our sports programs and our clubs. We have a performing arts club. We have a coding club. We have the strings project for 4th through 6th graders. We have intervention teachers, academic specialists, inclusion specialists. We do our summer school. So we do, again, a pretty robust program in Robla, as well as tutoring programs after school. This is just another way of answering the same question. It's the same priority, but it's part of the rubric. And again, just stating that, we have these additional programs and opportunities for our students beyond just the normal school day. Like, for example, with the preschool program, our dual immersion program, our strings project, and then the addition of the Prop 28 is going to be another component that's going to help us in this area. So those are the priorities that we need to look at individually as a district. What happens next is, this is part of that process. We need to present to the board where we're at. Then I will upload this information to the dashboard. The dashboard administrators will look to see if we get a met in all areas. And in the only one I'm really worried about is that one that has the teacher misassignment, because it's just a complicated component. And we did have a year that we didn't have the data in correctly. So if you remember, we had one year that we had it not met. But this year we are met, and I think going forward we are going to be met as well, because a lot of the issues that we've been dealing with are slowly kind of going away in terms of having to hire a lot of interns and just having issues in terms of where we are in the teaching profession. And that new dashboard will be released. They're moving that date up. It used to be December, it's supposed to be November next year, and working its way back to October. Any questions?
All of this in this report gets reported to the state?
Yes.
So what does the state do with the self-assessed information?
So we put that self-assessment, we put those tools and the responses into the dashboard. It's part of our dashboard presentation. And then they go in and they look, did we upload the information? Essentially, if you uploaded your information and you're not at a point where you have done self-assessment and you've got a lot of 1s and 2s, you're going to meet in those priority areas because you did the work to reflect in those priority areas. The one area that they can really say standard not met beyond us doing that self-reflection is that priority 1, because it includes the Williams, the facilities, and the teacher assignment.
Any additional questions or comments?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
All right, we're now going to move on to the consent agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved in second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. On to action items. Item A, approve 2025-26 Local Control Accountability Plan.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item B, approve and adopt the 2025-26 district budget. Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item C, the 2025-26 consolidated application.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item D, approve the 2025-26 school plan for student achievement.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Oh, these are just the plans to go in line with the report that you just gave, right?
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item E, approve 2025-26 services agreement with Swing Education for substitute teachers.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I would just like to say that I met with my swing contact today, and when we started with them about 5 years ago, we had about a 74% fill rate with our substitute staff as they come to us through swing. And today, she reported to me that we had a 99% fill rate. So I feel like the relationship that we have built over time with the subs in our area and our relationship with swing has greatly improved our ability to fill our classroom vacancies when they occur. So thank you for your support.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item F, the 2025 approved 2025-26 services agreement for Cavello Group for staffing services.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. Discussion.
Thank you. Similar to Swing, Cavello is a local group that is able to provide us with substitute school nurses, which has been an area where we've been really struggling at times. If we have a nurse call out, there's no one available. This agency has multiple nurses that will be able to be trained on our health plans prior to staff absences and will be available to fill those vacancies so that our students don't experience the stress of not having their nurse available, and our school nurses don't experience the stress of trying to do 3 jobs. So.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item G, approve certificated administrators agreement and salary schedule for the 2025-26 and the 26-27 school years.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item H, approve classified management confidential and supervisor employee agreement and salary schedule for 2025-26 and 26-27.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item I, approve 1.0 FTE District Community Schools Coordinator position, the attached job description, and corresponding salary schedule effective July 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
The next 2 items, the district community school coordinator as well as the site community school coordinator, is the next steps because we were awarded the community school implementation grant.
Can you give us a brief summary of the grant?
Sure. It's CCSPP, Community School Partnership Program. It's a 5-year grant awarded to each of the 5 elementary schools that will work in transforming the schools into community schools. the coordinators will oversee the efforts, working with administration as well as families and staff, just to ensure that services that our families might need, they might coordinate and bring services and partnerships with the community to better support our families and hopefully increase parent engagement and involvement.
Thank you. I was looking through it, and it says here, it talks about corresponding salary schedule, but I didn't see a salary schedule included in the attachment.
That's me.
Okay.
So they fall under the classified management supervisory salary schedule. I just didn't attach it since it was also as the same agenda item as the one above in H.
Okay.
Can you repeat that? What category did it fall under?
For the confidential supervisory classified management salary schedule, the one that was just approved in H, the district one is on a range C, and the site one is E or F.
Okay.
I think it's F.
All right, thank you. Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item J, approve 5.0 FTE Site Community School Liaison Positions, the attached job description and corresponding salary schedule effective July 1, 2025.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? Hearing none? Oh, go ahead.
5 site community liaison positions be reporting to you or only to the district coordinator?
Actually, they'll be reporting to the site principal,
Okay.
and then the district coordinator will help coordinate district
Just trying to
initiatives.
figure out the hierarchy.
So the site coordinators will report to site administration.
Okay.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item K, approve 2025-26 expanded learning contract, right at school.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
The next two items are our next steps of bringing, there are 2 of the 6 approved providers. And I will say that the Roberts Family Development Center, their contract should have been tonight, but speaking with Mr. Roberts, he wanted to restructure it, so we didn't get all the documentation in time, and that will be submitted in August. But these 2 vendors will be our new vendors. The first one is right at school. They would be at 3 at the elementary sites, as well as provide before school supervision at all 5 sites. And then
How many students are projected?
so this contract for K is for 80 students at 3 sites for after school, and then 20 students at each of the 5 sites for before school. And I'll just talk the other one. And then the next one would be 50 students after school for each of the 5 sites. And then intercession, which would be during our spring break for up to 120 students, 140 students.
Is it possible to get an infographic maybe in the August meeting of like which programs are at what schools, and then maybe something that we can send out to all the families who were concerned about their programs, about starting Roberts Family Zone. I think a visual will help with the understanding, at least for me.
No, absolutely. And we actually plan on, if you approve the vendors, we actually plan on doing the marketing to advertise in July.
And maybe what they specialize in, because we all know that parents want different things for their kids. So if they have what like the specialty is for each group, they'll have a better idea of which one might fit their child better.
I thank you for giving the update, the full update, but I would love to have it in the graphic. Yeah.
What was that?
That's what I'm like, wait, which one's at which school again? Like I can't remember. So.
Oh, and I apologize. I did it incorrectly. The first one is right at school, so I apologize. They are 50 students at all the 5 sites, and then intercession at 140 students. The next one, L, I was just trying to do it all at one time, is 80 students at 3 sites, and they would be providing our before-school supervision at all 5 sites. But I will provide that infographic and my master schedule. Thank you.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was wondering if you could provide more information about how it was determined that these 2 were the vendors that were selected. Why 2? Why not 1? And maybe some more information. This might be for the future, but thinking about how right now when we sign our children up for the after-school program, there is kind of only one option. So if they want to participate in the other supplemental ones, I think that was like, my child wasn't in any of them, so that's why I'm not quite sure the process, but like I think like with the Heilman Institute, like that was like a sub thing. I don't know, I guess like if you could explain to us like how the registration process, if it will be different, how it will be different, is it ever possible for students to be in both? You know, like those kind of questions I think parents will have, and if you can have those at the beginning, that would help us a little bit. And I think clarification if there's only going to be one spring break. Like, is it 2 or is it 1 program? Like right now, there's only 1, so is there going to be only 1 next time? And trying to think of the other questions I had. I didn't write them down. I think that's it for now.
So I will just answer one thing. We are piloting a program called 6 Crickets for enrollment. And it's going okay, yes. And we're hoping to work out the kinks. And so the information when we advertise the programs to all the parents, right, the enrollment will be simpler because enrollment will go through this one program. And then any additional documents that might need will be part of that. So yes, absolutely, we'll give the details when we start advertising if all the contracts are approved.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming if you should happen to remember the questions, it would be okay for them to contact you or Rumo. There you go. All right, any additional discussion or debate? Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. So I did send a survey out, right? So I will say I will still, I would still love feedback how to get a little bit more than 16 responses, you know. So absolutely open to hear how to get more feedback. But we had 16 feedback, and then we looked at the information from the rubric scoring, as well as I got feedback from the staff, right? So initially, I thought I was going to be to present 3, but I really wanted to be mindful of the number of spaces that I would have been offering by issuing contracts, right? And I wanted to be fiscally responsible right now, and so I provided, I will be offering contracts that gives equivalent to the number of spaces that were available this year, even though we did not use all the spaces. So I didn't think I would be responsible to add another vendor, and then I would be responsible to give them the contract when we didn't utilize all the spaces. However, those other 4 vendors are approved, so if we have the need, you know, the conversation will occur maybe with another vendor, or if any of our current vendors wanted to increase. So. So I will provide this in my infographic, but off the top of my head, Bell Avenue would have start, stay at school, and right at school. Glenwood would probably have start, Roberts Family Development Center, stay at school, right at school. Maine would have start, right at school, stay at school. Robla will just have start and right at school. Taylor will have start, Roberts, right at school. Stay after school will provide before school services at all of the 5 sites.
That's very good.
But you will get a table and an infographic.
She just went to ChatGPT and told him to put it together. There you go. All right. Any additional discussion or debate?
I just the superintendent challenge. It was like, I would have done the same thing.
I would also like to remind anybody who is watching from home that if they go to the last meeting, they can watch the presentations and pull up the documents for right at school as well as the stay after school.
Right.
Is it stay out? Yeah.
It is stay after school, so I apologize for stay after school, who's the rep is here, if I said stay. I think I
You
said
said stay at school.
At school, okay.
There you go.
Presentations and what they offer are available on our, what was the meeting date? June 12th?
Well,
Yeah, June 12th meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you for offering. I'm sure that for someone watching, that is greatly appreciated.
It would have helped me.
All right, and any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item L, approved 2025-26 expanded learning contract, Ed Tech Enrichment LLC, doing business as Stay After School.
Second?
Moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item M, approved 2025-26 K2 screening for risk of reading difficulties, Senate Bill 114.
Moved.
Second?
So moved and seconded. Discussion?
This is just the contract that Mr. Penman had shared regarding our requirement to screen our K-2 students.
Okay. Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item N, approve installing perimeter ramps at the playground safety surfacing areas at Robla Elementary School and replacing the wood chips playground surfacing at Taylor Street Elementary, kindergarten playground, and preschool by Flex Ground Company.
So moved.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Discussion.
Didn't we already do that?
He did.
Okay.
But I just, yeah, for fully transparency, that was part of presentation. The cost that is included in here is only for the Robla Elementary School, but due to the fact that we don't have a meeting a July meeting, and we want to work on the other proposals, I want to present to the board while we plan to work on it. Hold on a second. Yeah.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Move on now to item O, approved Inspector of Record Services with BH Inspection Management for the 2025 summer projects at Taylor Street Elementary School, Glenwood Elementary School, Robla Elementary School, and Bell Avenue Elementary School.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
The BSA Inspector of Record for the chain structures, so this is a requirement we need to do.
Okay. Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item P, approve architectural services proposal for Glenwood Elementary modular relocation from Main Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
Same thing?
Yeah.
Seeing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item Q, approve 2025-26 contract for Step Up to Writing program for Robla Elementary School.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Why is it only for Robla?
Because as Mr. Kaff presented in his SPSA presentation, this is a focus at his site only. Yeah, this is only being funded by his site budget.
And we'll get updates on how it goes and everything at the end of the year? Okay.
Yes.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item R, approve 2025-26 Teacher Induction Program MOU with the Sacramento County Office of Education.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. Any discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item S, approve 2025-26 service agreement with College Course Partnership.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I believe Ms. Crisp mentioned it about having college students provide some community service hours during her presentation.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes 4-0-1. All right, now we're on to Section 8, Board Member Requests for future agenda items or reports. Trustee Devine.
Nothing at this time, but I want to wish all the parents and students and teachers and staff a happy summer, happy 4th of July, and stay safe out in the heat.
Trustee Cardona.
And here. Wish you a nice vacation. We're safe. We'll see you next year.
Trustee Hamilton Starks.
Nothing at this time.
Trustee Barnes. Just one more reminder, there still are probably likely some openings to volunteer at the Robla Education Foundation fireworks booth, so please connect with Mr. Raven. Try and if you have an opportunity to volunteer, and if you're looking to buy fireworks, please make sure you buy them from the Robla Education Foundation. They're located right there at Bing's Market on the corner of Main and Rio Linda. Yes, you may.
Apologize. I left out a bunch of people during the report. I just want to give a shout out to our staff, our transportation staff, our child nutrition staff, our district office staff, our special education staff, who really have been supporting our summer programs. I think it has been running really smoothly. So thank you. Want to make sure that I acknowledge them and say thank you.
And with that, this meeting is adjourned.